Oh dear, I guess you can't please some people. Yo, what's good, it's your boy, the Reviews, and heavy spoilers for Demon Slayer Season 3, Episode 3, you have been warned. Before we dive into the controversy of this episode, let's talk about this episode overall. The episode picks up immediately after the last episode, where Tanjiro breaks the mask, which reveals a sword. The little boy asks Tanjiro to take the sword out, but Tanjiro, being the good boy scout, doesn't feel like it's right to pull the sword out of its body. After some arguing back and forth, Tanjiro decides to pull the sword out, and it's pretty damn rusty. Out from the shadows appears the man who usually repairs Tanjiro's swords, and bloody hell mate, this dude is ripped. The reason why he's so ripped is because he's trying to forge Tanjiro a brand new sword, and I kinda like that. Despite Tanjiro constantly breaking the swords that this dude makes for him, and despite his annoyance towards Tanjiro, he still cares for him. And for him to create a powerful sword that will protect Tanjiro in battle, what a great guy he is. The first act of this episode has a lot of comedic moments, which I noticed. I guess they did this so that there could be a sharp contrast between the first act and the last act, which is so intense and dramatic. But yeah, he has some comedic moments with Genya, and this whole interaction between Tanjiro and Genya reminds me a lot of Izuku Midoriya and Katsuki Bakugo from My Hero Academia. I mean, Genya even sounds like Bakugo. I wouldn't be surprised if this was the same voice actor as Bakugo. But during this whole interaction, there's this moment that made me scratch my head a little bit. Tanjiro presents Genya his teeth that he was picking during the first episode, and apparently his teeth's grown back. So does Genya have some sort of regeneration ability? We get a pretty damn adorable scene of Tanjiro braiding Nezuko's hair just like Lady Kanroji, and Nezuko is just absolutely adorable in this scene. She just warms your heart, mate. But this funny, wholesome first act is completely cut short when this man comes from the hot springs and he stumbles upon a vase in the middle of a pathway, and immediately it's gobbled up and spat out by the upper 5 demon that we saw in the first episode. And mate, the dude's body is completely mangled up. It kind of made my stomach turn a little bit. We get a scene of Genya looking for the swordsmith who was fixing his sword. He picks the sword up, talks about his brother and how he has to do something. So I have a feeling that potentially in the next episode we're going to get some sort of flashback with Genya and his brother. We get a scene of the Hashira boy and Tanjiro talking about why Tanjiro cares so much about people, and Tanjiro gives the Tanjiro response about whatever goodness you give to other people, the goodness will come back to you. And this response from Tanjiro startles the Hashira. For the first time so far in the show, he's actually showing some form of emotion. While they interact with this old upper rank demon looking dude who we saw from the first episode makes a sneaky appearance, and immediately the Hashira boy activates his powers. The transition looks absolutely beautiful, mate. Everything looks so misty and grey. It doesn't look as flashy as Tengen's powers or Rengoku or even Tanjiro's. It's very mysterious and very toned down. Tanjiro and Nezuko both join the battle, and Nezuko powers up into a semi-adult form, the form that enraged a lot of people from last year. The Hashira boy slices the demon's neck off, and immediately the demon splits into 2 demons, just like the season 2 villains. One of the demons is super cocky and arrogant, while the other is super serious. The serious man uses the staff and activates this lightning technique power, electrocuting Tanjiro. Genya then whips out this rifle and then goes in for the attack. Tanjiro mentions that the gun has a similar scent to a Nichiren sword. I wonder what that's all about. These demons are super fast to regenerate, and the rest of the episode is pretty much Tanjiro, Genya, and Nezuko all trying to take on the 2 split in half demons, while the blue Hashira boy is super far away from the action because he got blown away. The dude has this internal monologue where at first he doesn't really care about the boy because he's inexperienced and not a powerful person, but then he remembers Tanjiro's words and then he's like, oh, may as well go and help the boy. And the episode ends where we see the boy in the mask fighting this fish demon. The Hashira boy comes to confront him, and this is where the main controversy of the episode pretty much happens. These few 20 seconds of this fish demon versus the little boy really annoyed a lot of people on Twitter because of the CGI. I'm going to be brutally honest with you. I think the CGI looks absolutely beautiful. I love the textures on the design. I love even the motion of the fish. I think they blended it quite well with the 2D backgrounds and the the 2D animation scenes, but that's just my opinion, and my opinion doesn't reflect the negative response that this scene got online. And even though this is a Studio Ufotable production, people still wanted to bring up MAPPA and Attack on Titan into this discussion, comparing the CGI to that. Some people thought that AOTE CGI looked better than Demon Slayer, while others thought the design and animation looked way better than Attack on Titan Season 4 animation CGI. So the reaction to this 20-second scene has been quite chaotic online. Some big tweets getting a lot of backlash, with a lot of people defending the Demon Slayer CGI, and then people make statements saying that if MAPPA had done this, people would be hating on it. It honestly feels like some people have some sort of allergic reaction when they see CGI, and whenever CGI appears in any anime, whether it was with Bleach or even with this new episode, MAPPA always seems to be trending, even though they didn't animate Bleach or Demon Slayer. But overall, this episode was a pretty epic watch. It was better than episode 2. I love the tonal shifts from comedic and funny moments in the first act to serious and dramatic scenes in the second and third act. This episode gets an 8.5 out of 10 and a B+. But tell me in the comments down below what you guys thought of this episode. Do you like it? Do you hate it? What do you think of the CGI? Is it amazing or terrible? Tell me. Like for more anime reactions, reviews, comparisons, breakdowns, rankings and more. But thank you for watching, and as always, a boy dude review signing out.